Welcome to National Sweatographic, where we analyze the toxic specimen out in the wild. Here, we can see the seasoned spirit hunting their prey. Oh my, the spirit has sensed a wild fang min. The fang min seems very confident about the encounter. But as with the cycle of life, the predator always catches their prey. Another encounter has been made between the calm spirit and the beckoning fang min. Sweatologists are still puzzled as to why wild fang min attempt to use mating dances on predators. Despite this, the common spirit doesn't fall for the trick and begins its lethal pursuit. Spirits can smell fear, hence why their tracking capabilities are unlike any other known predator. As you can see, both animals enter a display to see who the alpha is. This is completely natural and usually happens near wild pallets, and thus, again, the predator asserts dominance over its prey. In the cold and musty environment of the basement region lies the bubba's natural habitat. Bubbas have intrigued sweatologists with their unique hunting techniques. They seem to seek gratification from this, as if bubbas are somehow aware that their numbers are dwindling. Sweatologists have deemed bubbas as endangered as their habitat has unfortunately been taken over by multiple different invasive species. As shown here, the invasive Jeff Johansson taunts the predator after a narrow escape. But there is a reason why Jeff Johanssons are also endangered. Alas, the only way to protect such a fascinating species and their home is by regularly feeding your local bubba's pallets. As one of their only sources of food, pallets are necessary for the survival of such a predator. With your support, we can help preserve the endangered bubba. May God bless his own creation. The wild Renato treks around the wooded environment, sensing a predator may be stalking them. While the Renato is unsure of its safety, the looming Michael Myers begins to move in on its prey. As both animals lock eyes, the prey now understands the severity of the situation. As you can hear, the Renato has cried for help, alerting nearby creatures in a desperate attempt to save its own life. However, unbeknownst of the lurking wildlife, this Michael Myers is eager to play with his food. Here, you can see a rabid Nancy and Nia attempt to entice the predator, but to no avail. This is because wild Michael Myers are committed to the thrill of the hunt. Sweatologists coined the term tunneling for this behavior, and thus the local wildlife watch in horror, a reminder to not take their puny lives for granted. In today's episode of National Sweatographic, we follow the eminent Albert Wesker as it pursues its dinner. As you'll see, the wild Dwight enters a courtship display, seemingly teasing the predator. Sweatologists have discovered that specimens do this in an attempt of plea, hoping the predator spares the prey. But unforgivingly, most wildlife do not fall for such an absurd trick. The ordinary Dwight is known to have below-average intelligence, showing signs of poor decision-making skills and lack of episodic-like recollection abilities. Inversely, Albert Weskers are some of the most clever of the animal kingdom, showing true superior anatomy. As seen, the predator asserts itself as the beast of prey. Organisms that are more adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and pass on the genes that aided their success. Dwight was a victim of the cycle of life. Pigs are some of the weakest predators of the animal kingdom, known to be taken advantage of by the most toxic of creatures. As shown here, the rabid sable and assisting Lara Croft collect a save on the poor pig. This is enough to make one question if pigs really are the natural predators in such an unnatural environment. Because again, and once again, wild pigs show great hunting capabilities, but seem to lack the means of securing a kill. It is truly disheartening to see the natural order of nature be disrupted, as if the tables have been turned in the favor of the supposedly weaker specimen. The element of flashlights highlights their ingenuity, reminding us that even in the most dire of circumstances, they can fight back and outsmart their hunters. Though this delays the inevitable, death, like a patient shadow, always claims its due. What you just witnessed was a wild wraith pouncing on its prey. But, as you will learn, wraiths get distracted far too easily. In a very ambitious attempt, the predator begins a joint hunting session, leaving the aforementioned target to bleed out on the ground. This hunting strategy, as coined ages ago by sweatologists, has been dubbed slugging because some predators enjoy the thrill of making their prey move around on the ground like, well, slugs. One may initially think that such a technique would prove to be a negative. But as you see, my intrigued viewer, slugging attracts the attention of the surrounding wilderness and is an excellent way for wraiths to make sure that no one escapes death. The first slugged animal begins a cascading effect, alerting the hive mind like a beacon of the night, only to be a facade as they all succumb to a misguided tragedy. A common misconception for those new to the vast world of the wilderness is that predators show no signs of compassion. That, my dear viewer, could not be any further from the truth. Although it is very rare to witness, common beasts such as nurses and trappers can exhibit signs of empathy. What you are viewing is previously unseen and unheard of footage of the two organisms interacting and sharing moments of bliss when striking their prey. Sweatologists worry for weaker specimen. How will they survive in such a dominated environment? Perhaps this is biased, but perceive it as this. This is revolutionary, as acts such as this were only known as myth. But today, we watch as nature heals, as an inseparable bond between unrelenting forces has been conceived. Corrupt intervention reigns as a new dawn rises. The prey will be dead by daylight. Unless if you're this David. Bunny Fang Min are some of the most toxic specimen found in nature. Their toxicity makes them great prey, as their cockiness overshadows their intelligence. As you've witnessed, the animal flocks to wild pallets, seemingly believing that they are some sort of safe haven. But alas, this is never the case with such an esteemed predator. The equally witless Elodie falls into the same trap as before, assuming they are above one of the kings of the jungle. And thus, the nurse devours hope. Now, this is an interesting case. Instead of rapidly beckoning the killer with their buttocks, the Yunjin opts for waving at the predator. And gracefully showing retribution, the prey is again captured. Time and time again, we watch as the stronger organisms assert themselves, begging the question as to why the weaker prey continue to exhibit such vanity and conceit. Curious. The huntress swipes at the sable in one sleek motion and... Wait, what the hell? Where did she go? I'm not quite sure how that wild sable managed to do that. Something is very wrong here. Hold on. Sorry folks, this is completely off script, but this definitely is not the natural order of things. This is dangerous. This is going to disrupt everything. The stronger organisms are supposed to hunt and kill the weaker specimen, but this is completely backwards. There isn't any prey known to sweatologists that can teleport and fly. Predators, even the alphas, are going to struggle to survive in a world dominated by such a blatantly invasive species. I'm not entirely sure how sweatologists are going to combat this, but folks, I promise you, the cycle of life will not be broken and must persist, because if something like this creature were to ever repopulate, that might just mean the end of the world as we know it. Claudettes are some of the most common animals you can find throughout nature. Interestingly enough, there is actually two different subspecies of Claudette that roam the wilds. The first kind, as you'll see, is the more common of the two. This Claudette likes to engage with and beckon the rapidly approaching predator in an act of suicide. Sweatologists are not entirely sure as to why the specimen does this, as suicidal tendencies only accelerate the Claudette's fate of natural selection. However, the less common type you'll find are very precious. This Claudette doesn't mock the carnivores, rather opting to form some sort of truce between the two watchful entities. And in a surprising turn of events, the infamous nurse and the equally regarded wraith show pity for the weak creature, noticing it led itself into a corner. After all, if the two alphas didn't allow some of their prey to escape, there wouldn't be anything left to hunt.